Welcome back to On Point. Then my name is Arabile Kumete. Thank you so much to my colleague Nompumelelo Siziba there for holding down the fort. Let's continue then to take a look at how things are faring on the market front then as we continue your update this afternoon. Well, it seems to have been a better day even today. 2.33% rise for the JSE All Share, now above 52,000 points. So good picture on that front. Where does that come from? Well, it was a positive day out in Asia as well. 1.2% gain as well then for most of the market. Even the Nikkei going up there. 1% up for the Hang Seng, while the Shanghai Composite out in China managed to rise up 0.2% as well. Good day yesterday as well out of the United States. 0.3% up on that front for the Dow Jones Industrial. That market continuing to just steamroll and go higher. Global markets are up over 36% then compared to their lows that were all the way out in March. Also in Europe, also a very good day on that front. The DAX out in Germany enjoying the best day there, 3.7% higher as well, a 2% increase as well for the CAC 40 out in France. Well, and as I said, a good gain and a good uptick as well for the JSE All Share as the market begins to open up, or as the economy begins to open up, perhaps a little more positivity streaming to the market then, and hopes then of a recovery sooner rather than later. And of course, yesterday we got that figure from National Treasury that job losses could go up to 1.8 million, which is a smaller comparison or smaller loss of jobs. That's compared to the 7 million that they had predicted out on the 30th of April. 690,000 job losses for the period then when compared for a optimistic closing or coming back of South Africa's economy. So that certainly tells you the story there. The financials and the banking stocks similarly working in tandem there, with financials going up more than 3%. The resources as well enjoying a good day as things begin to kick back into some sort of normality, 3.2% there. Look at that, the gold index 4.5% higher as well then at this present moment in this lunchtime trade. So what does that mean for the local currency? Well, it's gotten more than 0.5% better off today, now sitting at 17 Rand and 25 cents against the US dollar. It's 19.25 then as well for the euro, with 21.61 for a British pound. That sense of positivity out of the National Treasury yesterday and a continued opening of the economy does certainly help those kinds as well. One company that will certainly still sit in the doldrums though is British American Tobacco South Africa, as of course tobacco products are still being banned in terms of their sale as well. Onto the commodities board then, less than $40 a barrel, only just. The Brent crude price climbing to 2.4%. Climbing by 2.4% to sit at $39.23 a barrel, and quite significant there. Of course, later this week we are expecting OPEC and its allies, so that's known as OPEC Plus, which usually includes the likes of Russia, are expected to perhaps commence a meeting and detail exactly what will happen when it comes to their production cuts. Will they be sustained for the rest of this year? Will they rather increase their production? That is the big question there. So for now, 2.3% higher for Brent crude. It's $8.48 for platinum, and the gold price is pretty much flat as well at $1,740 a fine ounce. Let's chat now to Owen Nkomo from Nkunzi Wealth, who joins us to unpack this market picture a little bit more. Owen, thank you so much for the time, Bafo. I suppose the big question is, can this rally continue? Are we going back into that bull run we saw before the lockdowns?
Hi, Arabile. I think it's great to see the market rallying like this, and I think the rest of the world has started to adjust their risk calculations. I think things are going to go back to normal as far as sentiment at least is concerned. But the challenge that we still have is that we've got continued downgrade of GDPs across the world, and at the same time, the stock markets have continued to rally. I think that potentially will come to a halt at some point. The market has rallied quite extensively, and yet not much has changed by way of economic growth forecasts. So I do think, it's a welcome rally, but we need to be very careful not to get sucked in extensive. Because once to see the GDP numbers coming through, we will see a picture that might be different to what we see in the markets at the moment.
Yeah, and that oil price as well then, right? Looks like $40 a barrel is certainly going to happen. Motorists, unfortunately, we're going to have to pay more for fuel now as well. But with the strengthening of the rand, who knows what that figure might be in future. Of course, for next month or for this month, we already know what it is. Where does that oil price go if, for example, OPEC and its allies decide they are going to keep their production cuts going until at least the end of this year? Does that price go well above $40 a barrel?
I think easily Arabella can go to $45 a barrel. And the trick is in two things: the world economy is opening up, and us seeing the guys at OPEC and their other partners reducing productivity or production of oil on a daily basis. And if that happens, I think $45 is easily doable, and you're going to see a short squeeze as well from the people who've taken out short contracts on the oil. So I do think 45 is easily doable by the end of maybe the next 3 months, if not earlier than that, as long as we see positive signs that the world is getting back to work and people are now, there's now a demand for oil and oil products.
That's a good sign then for Sasol, isn't it? I mean, more than 100 Rand a share now.
Oh, yes, absolutely. An amazing performance by Sasol from 22 rands. It's you essentially are making 6 times if you bought it at 22. But I believe that at 22, people might have been scared. But definitely, the stock has done well, above $100 now. Obviously, firmer oil price doing the work there, and potentially some there's word that the guys could get a new CEO who's black, and a whole lot of speculation around the stock and their disposal of some of the projects in America. The one that's caused them a lot of pain over the years. So Sasol doing nicely. Yesterday up double digits. Up today again another set of double digits, 11% up this afternoon, Arabella.
So is that sustainable though, the rally in that number? And I only ask because yes, it goes well above 100 Rand a share, but as you mentioned, Lake Charles, their operations out in the United States, is still a question mark, and they did kind of benchmark the oil price at around 35. It's gone past that and could sustainably remain above that level for a while still.
Yes, look, I mean, I think an oil price trading below $30 is unrealistic in my view. Whether the markets are doing okay and the economy is doing well or not, everything's up 30 is not a sustainable price for oil in my view. So I do expect it to be above 30, as I've said, up to $45. If they can sell a portion of Lake Charles, they'll bring in much needed dollars in billions there for them to sort of reduce some of their gearing there. I think they will be able to convince the market that things will look better. And if they do a little bit more changes in the executive management team, I do believe that Sasol will be a stock to watch. Remember, things are undervalued at this stage across.
Unfortunately, there we are getting stuck with that line there, Owen. Unfortunately, we're getting a little cramped up. Hopefully, we can try to get you back and just get your sense as well. You did say that there are quite a few stocks that are perhaps undervalued at a stage like this. What else is perhaps undervalued at a time like this? What are the stocks you sort of get into? Is sort of the retail counters, the likes of famous brands as well, the likes of ShopRite, those fast-moving consumer goods, do they perhaps get your nod as well at a time like this?
No, look, I think that if you've got the anything that is defensive, you're looking at your Aspens, you're looking at some of the food stocks, some of the food retailers. Obviously, that will depend on consumer buying power going forward, and on the state of employment in the country. And I think you're also looking at some of these banks and the insurance names. I do believe they continue to be subdued. There was a good buying opportunity for Prosus and Naspers yesterday. And I think that any pulling back in the counter is certainly good for people who want to get offshore exposure, Arabile. And I do certainly think that it's worth looking at some of these miners as well that have been aggressively sold off on a valuation basis. I do think that there are some of the good quality miners, the low cost producers, certainly are worth looking at.
Yeah, certainly does get interesting. As you mentioned, that Prosus deal as well with Naspers. Of course, a lot of that could even be pushed because of Tencent, where they have gotten a stake or looking to get a stake into Warner Music Group, which officially lists on the NASDAQ tomorrow. There's a pricing, of course, on that one happening as well. But, Owen, Appreciate the time. That's all we have time for, unfortunately, this afternoon. But thank you so much. Always good chatting to you then, as well as we get your perspectives on this market movement. We'll continue to give you more economic news, though, after this short break. Do stay tuned. This is On Point.